animals. You could be nursing plants. They call it nursery, nursery for flowers, nursery for kids, nursery for animals. So when you talk about the young ones could be animals, the young one could be human beings, the young ones could be plant. So this nurturing, the case of nurse, is something to do with that growing up. Growing up. So while you are taking this class, while you are doing this PhD, make sure that you are growing up. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Don't get bogged down with your academic research so that you completely lose your humanity, so that you completely lose your happiness, you completely lose joy in life. So it comes together. So please be very cautious on this, that when you nurture, like this, the word nurture is coming up like this, taking care of, you are a young person, you are starting your career, but if you grow up, you have a PhD, but you are so grumpy, you are so unhappy, there is no use to be a doctor. There is no use to have doctor in front of your name, but you are so burdened with emotional negativities. So this is very important, that you develop yourself, nurture yourself so that you develop yourself in various ways, not only with academic. It's good to have academic background, people trust you, but at the same time you must be a happy person. And a happy person doesn't come easily unless you are aware that it has to come with mental development, emotional development, and spiritual development. This spiritual development actually helps emotion and helps mental. So it has to come together. It has to come together. Like that. Nurse. I break down the word N, the letter N. N-U-R-S-E. Nature. You have to understand nature of your work. You have to understand nature of your work really well. You have to deal with many people. You have to deal with doctors. That's very hard part sometimes. The doctors could be so hard on you. Now some doctors could be so hard. They only care for the body. They forget to care for the mind. Forget to care for the spiritual part. Patience, yes. I really believe that you are like a bodhisattva. Nurses are like bodhisattva to patients. You mean a lot to them. You mean a lot to them. Unless and until you realize that, that when you walk in the patient's ward, every eyes, all pairs of eyes are looking at you, waiting for you. So you must know your importance in that particular space and time. So being a nurse is God's gift. And you have to play well. Yes. You have to play that gift well. You have to cherish that gift well. Yes, and workers, you're not dealing only with doctors and with your your friend nurses, not only with patients, but also workers. Like, in order for you to run this big, huge building, there are people who come in to sweep, the person who bring in your drinks, for example. You have to deal with people at different level, and that you have to know the nature of your work. Understand the nature of your work. Before you understand the nature of your work, you have to understand your own nature. Your own nature. And we can talk a great deal about that, but I need you to feed me with questions afterwards. Yes, you meaning us. Let's talk about us. As long as I talk about I and you like that. Actually, it's not good. It's not good. We have to learn to speak this us language, the language for both of us. Yes, R stands for you can you can break down and you can explain differently. You can explain differently, but I break down in this way so that I can bring in different points that I would like to address to you. R for respect for life. Yeah, nurse is about caring for life. So we have to learn about respect for life, responsibility. A nurse has a great responsibility to the nation, to your patients. Your patients is the nation who are presenting themselves in front of you. So you can say, not only patients, but the nation. Yes, self for service, S for service. A nurse, to be a nurse, number one, is to give service. And in order for you to be able to give service wholeheartedly, there must be that self-sacrifice. This is very much Buddhist practice. ศาสนาพุทธสอนใช่ไหมเรื่องความไม่ยึดติดในตัวตนใช่ไหมคะ Or if you want to still hold on the self, let it be big self, big S, which means ourselves, not myself, but ourselves. So the service goes to the nation in this way also. When we are responsible, we have service and we have to sacrifice. I see that as a great bodhisattva's attitude, bodhisattva's lifestyle. And the last one, E is for equality. When you walk in the ward, as a nurse, you have to treat all patients equally. Not this this one you have developed a special kind of relationship, so you go straight to her bed before anyone else, Your patients are your patients and need your attention equally. Some may need more, some may need less, but you must be their nurse, not one particular person's nurse. So equality is very important, because as soon as the patient somehow get the sense that this nurse will not be interested in me, she's interested in that bed. When the patient develops this kind of feeling, it's very difficult to help heal her. Very difficult. And just the opposite. There was this man, very old man, and the nurse comes in and he really waits for her. Day in and day out, he was just looking for her to come. And his condition improved greatly. And then, to all the amazement of the doctors, how this old man improved, the condition improved rapidly. Then one day, he was talking to his favorite nurse, and the nurse was telling him that she treats everyone equally. And as she comes in, she has to divide her time to other patients. So she was being very good nurse. But when this old man realized that, all the good things that this nurse is doing to him is simply because she's doing her duty. Not particularly that she likes him particularly. He lost his heart. Because all the time he thought that she was interested in him particularly. But from that conversation, he realized that she was just doing her duty, which is correct. But when he realized that, he lost his heart. And the next day he died. This is the big problem with nurse and relationship with patient. The word is attachment. The patients tend to be attached to you. So when he realized that she was not good to him only, but she was good to everyone, and he was not his particular case, he died the next day. So that's how a nurse could mean so much to patients. So I would like to emphasize this, because when I come into contact with many nurses, somehow I wish to tell them that you don't know how important you are to patients. The way you look at them, the way you speak to them, it's all meaningful. They would take it 100% to their heart. So even small negative word, that you might have said it, out of being unmindful, means so much to the patient that you as teachers, you must impart this awareness to your future generation of nurses, that nurses is everything to the patients. Because doctors come only in one round, no? And then gone for the whole day. But nurses are there all the time. And nurses are the one who actually deals with caring and bringing life and continuing life. So very important. We break here. We break here at least so that at least I can have my coffee.
Yes.